So now all the Canaanites, inhabitants of the land, will hear this thing and surround us and cut off our name. And the Lord said to Joshua, Why do you fall on your face? Rise, get up, for the Israelites have sinned and taken of the accursed thing. I will no more be with them unless they destroy the accursed thing from among them. And Joshua rose up and assembled the people and brought the Urim by the order of the Lord. And the tribe of Judah was taken, and Achan son of Carmi was taken. Joshua said to Achan, Tell me, my son, what have you done? And Achan said, I saw among the spoil a goodly garment of Shinar, and 200 shekels of silver, and a wedge of gold of 50 shekels weight. I coveted them and took them, and behold, they are all hid in the earth in the middle of the tent. And Joshua sent men who went and took them from the tent of Achan, and they brought them to Joshua. Joshua took Achan and these utensils, and his sons and daughters, and all belonging to him, and they brought them into the valley of Achor. Joshua burned them there with fire, and all the Israelites stoned Achan with stones. They raised over him a heap of stones. Therefore he called that place the valley of Achor. So the Lord's anger was appeased, and Joshua afterward came to the city and fought against it. And the Lord said to Joshua, Fear not, neither be dismayed. Behold, I have given into your hand Ai, her king, and her people, and you shall do to them as you did to Jericho and her king. Only the goods and the cattle, there you shall take for yourselves. Lay an ambush for the city behind it. So Joshua did according to the word of the Lord, and he chose from among the sons of war 30,000 courageous men. He sent them, and they lay an ambush for the city. And he commanded them, saying, When you shall see us, we will flee before them with cunning, and they will pursue us. You shall rise them out of the ambush and take the city. And they did so. Joshua fought, and the men of the city went out toward Israel, not knowing that they were lying in ambush for them behind the city. Joshua and all the Israelites pretended to be wearied out before them, and they fled by the way of the wilderness with cunning. The men of Ai gathered all the people who were in the city to pursue the Israelites. They went out and were drawn away from the city. Not one remained, and they left the city open and pursued the Israelites. Those who were lying in ambush rose up out of their places, hurried to come to the city, and took it, and set it on fire. The men of Ai turned back, and there the smoke of the city ascended to the skies, and they had no means of retreating either one way or the other. All the men of Ai were in the midst of Israel, some on this side and some on that side, and they struck them so that not one of them remained. The children of Israel took Malash king of Ai alive, and they brought him to Joshua. And Joshua hanged him on a tree, and he died. And the children of Israel returned to the city after having burned it. They struck all those that were in it with the edge of the sword. The number of those that had fallen of the men of Ai, both man and woman, was 12,000. Only the cattle and the goods of the city they took to themselves, according to the word of the Lord to Joshua. And all the kings on this side Jordan, all the kings of Canaan, heard of the evil which the children of Israel had done to Jericho and to Ai, and they gathered themselves together to fight against Israel. Only the inhabitants of Gibeon were greatly afraid of fighting against the Israelites, that they should perish. So they acted cunningly. They came to Joshua and to all Israel and said to them, We have come from a distant land, so now make a covenant with us. And the inhabitants of Gibeon overreached the children of Israel, and the children of Israel made a covenant with them, and they made peace with them. The princes of the congregation swore to them, but afterward the children of Israel knew that they were neighbors to them and were dwelling among them. But the children of Israel killed them not, for they had sworn to them by the Lord, and become hewers of wood and drawers of water. Joshua said to them, Why did you deceive me to do this thing to us? And they answered him, Because it was told to your servants, All that you have done, to all the kings of the Amorites. And we were greatly afraid of our lives, and we did this thing. Joshua appointed them on that day to hew wood and to draw water, and he divided them for slaves to all the tribes of Israel. And when Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, heard all that the king of Israel had done to Jericho and to Ai, he sent to Horam, king of Hebron, and to Piram, king of Jarmuth, and to Japhia, king of Lachish, and to Debir, king of Eglon, saying, Come up to me and help me, that we may strike the children of Israel and the inhabitants of Gibeon, who have made peace with the children of Israel. And they gathered themselves together, and the 5 kings of the Amorites went up with all their camps, a mighty people numerous as the sand of the seashore. All these kings came and camped before Gibeon, and they began to fight against the inhabitants of Gibeon. And all the men of Gibeon sent to Joshua, saying, Come up quickly to us and help us, for all the kings of the Amorites have gathered together to fight against us. Joshua and all the fighting people went up from Gilgal, and Joshua came suddenly to them, and struck these 5 kings with a great slaughter. And the Lord confounded them before the children of Israel, who struck them with a terrible slaughter in Gibeon, and pursued them along the way that goes up to Beth Horon, to Makkedah. They fled from before the children of Israel. And while they were fleeing, the Lord sent on them hailstones from heaven, and more of them died by the hailstones than by the slaughter of the children of Israel. The children of Israel pursued them, and they still struck them in the road, going on and smiting them. And when they were smiting, the day was declining toward evening. And Joshua said in the sight of all the people, Sun, stand still on Gibeon, and you, moon, in the valley of Ajalon, until the nation shall have revenged itself on its enemies. The Lord listened to the voice of Joshua, and the sun stood still in the midst of the heavens, and it stood still 36 moments. And the moon also stood still, and hurried not to go down a whole day. And there was no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord listened to the voice of man, for the Lord fought for Israel.